it's important to save. Even among those aged 60 and above, 1 in 8 have zero saved for retirement. And the figure dramatically increases as we go down the age groups. When we lack savings, financial stress can affect our ability to think. 4 researchers experimentally induced thoughts about finances among New Jersey shoppers and found that cognitive performance in poor participants was reduced, but not in well-off participants. In this video, I'll explain 3 simple ways we can save more. First, we can save our future salary increases. We tend to focus too much on the present at the expense of the future, in what is called present bias. As a result, we make decisions that we'll regret in the future. For example, we often squander our raises, even though we know we probably should be saving them. Squandering our raises often makes it harder for us to retire as our expenses increase, but our savings don't. One way to overcome this problem is to make savings decisions even before we get a raise. Some employers have features that allow you to automatically channel pay increases to your retirement savings account. Be sure to check with HR whether they have this feature. And even if they don't, you can come up with one yourself. Give yourself an allowance by depositing a paycheck in a savings or investment account, and then automatically transferring a fixed amount to your checking account each month. In other words, give yourself a fixed allowance and adjust the allowance only if you have to. That way, pay increases are automatically saved by default. Peers can also have a gigantic influence on how much you save. For example, some economists studied the retirement plan participation among employees of 11 libraries of a large university. At this university, prospective librarians are interviewed and hired by the central library. So one wouldn't expect big differences in demographics or in the propensity to save across libraries. Indeed, the data confirmed that there were no demographic differences across libraries, yet plan participation varied dramatically across libraries, from a low of 14% to a high of 73%. Further tests suggested that peer effects explain a large part of the 60 percentage point difference. Now you probably don't determine who your colleagues are at work, but there are still powerful ways to influence who you interact with and are exposed to. If you're on Reddit, and even if you aren't, it's worth joining the Frugal subreddit and seeing which saving tips are applicable to you. Facebook likewise has numerous groups dedicated to helping you save, and I should mention one that can help you save directly: Buy Nothing, where you offer items you don't need and receive items you need for free, and also occasionally make good friends in the process. Third, alcohol dramatically affects our spending and saving decisions. It's easy to find stories about people regretting what they bought when drunk. Surveys that ask people how much they spent when drunk suggest that tens of billions of dollars are spent, and people often forget the things they did when they were drunk. While we don't have too many good real-world experiments on the effects of getting people drunk due to ethical concerns, we do have an experiment showing that not getting drunk can have dramatic effects. Low-income workers in Chennai, India, earn around $7 a day. On average, they spend 10 to 40% of this on alcohol, and drink around 5 standard drinks a day, and often come to work with alcohol in their blood. In 2014, then Harvard PhD student Frank Schubach ran an experiment with rickshaw drivers in Chennai. He gave some of them unconditional cash payments. Others received incentives to remain sober during the daytime. A third group got to choose between unconditional cash payments and sobriety incentives. Those who received sobriety incentives decreased daytime drinking, relative to those who received unconditional payments, even though overall drinking remained unchanged. In other words, they shifted their drinking to the nighttime. Also, among this group of people, savings increased by 50%, while labor supply, productivity, and earnings remain unchanged. What was even more striking was that in the group that chose between sobriety incentives and unconditional payments, 1/3 of participants chose the sobriety incentives even when the maximum amount they could receive was less than the maximum unconditional cash payment. This group saved just as much, if not more, than the group that received sobriety incentives. In other words, we should be cautious about consuming alcohol when making savings decisions, as well as decisions with long-term impact, such as big purchases. After all, alcohol is an agent of myopia. It causes us to focus more on the salient than the peripheral, which could lead us to overweight the present and ignore the future. More importantly, this story shows that there is a science to saving. Even simple tweaks to when you drink alcohol can change your saving behavior dramatically. And simple devices can help us overcome self-control problems that affect our savings. Of course, there is much more to the science of saving, but I want to give you 3 things you can start off with that are totally free, and which will definitely lead to more ideas down the road. Thanks for watching this video, and have a fantastic day ahead.